Cool. So the recording has been started. Cool. So we can start, okay? Okay, Sai. So it's been a long time, nearly 3 years since we left the college in Thapar. So what are you doing nowadays in like US? मैंने देखा PhD वाला tag, but yes, describe me more what you are doing there.
Yes, I do my PhD at UCSC. मेरा advisor, her name is Maggie Saif Al Nasser. मैं computational media department में PhD कर रहा हूँ. So essentially, computational media is how we use computational systems like algorithms हो या AI हो or any kind of technology in interactive media. अब interactive media हो सकता है VR, AR, video games, social networking. So yeah, that's where the department is. Abhi I
Okay.
finished 2 years. I have 3 more years to go.
Okay. Okay. So can you go more deeper into the subject of what you are doing? Because अभी तक मुझे जैसे तुमने last conversation में मुझे बताया था कि this is what you are doing. You are studying the religion, culture in video games and all. So can you go more deeper into that?
Yeah,
Like for a layman kind of a person जो जिसका बिल्कुल भी entry नहीं है in your subject, can you describe more?
yeah, absolutely. जो मेरा specific thesis है, if I had like sum it up in like 2 lines, I study how religion is projected in video games, and similarly, जब video game खेलते हैं, we also consume that religious
Hmm. Hmm.
content. So how do we perceive religion in video game? So generally, communication, any form of communication, it could be through games, through text, through audio, video, whatever. The
Hmm.
center kind of embeds a message. मतलब मैं कुछ बताना चाहता हूँ,
ठीक
but
है.
that is not where communication ends. It also depends on how the person receives that message और उसको decipher कैसा करता है. So that's the
Hmm.
complete cycle of communication. So video games maybe people put a lot of things in it, like designers religious elements डालते हैं. It has its own merit, but then we also want to study how people decipher religious elements or cultural elements in video games. So then that form of communication is
Hmm. Hmm.
complete. Generally लोग when you say video games, the first thing which comes is not religion. मतलब इतना इतना
क्या
आसान
नहीं मेरे
strike
को
नहीं,
नहीं आया. Correct.
right? But जब थोड़ा थोड़ा ध्यान से देखा तो ऐसा लगता है कि we will actually see a lot more of religious elements. For example, बचपन में हम मारियो खेलते हैं, अभी भी खेलते हैं.
Hmm.
जैसे मारियो खेलते खेलते हम मर जाते हैं, and then you actually kind of restart the game, right? So that concept of respawn and rebirth, it is not a concept which is very Abrahamic. मतलब
Hmm. Hmm.
काफी रिलीजन्स में ये रीबर्थ की कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं होती. ये काफी कम रिलीजन्स में, मान की बुद्धिज्म और हिंदुइज्म में ज्यादा होता है इस बिलीफ. तो दैट काइंड ऑफ मैकेनिक बोलते हैं उसको, द गेम ट्रिक है, वो गेम का एक ट्रिक
Hmm.
है जो वहां से इंस्पायर्ड है. जैसे अभी
Hmm.
स्नैपचैट यूज करते हो या अभी मतलब कोई भी गेम शुरू करते, देर आस्क चूज योर अवतार.
Hmm. Hmm.
Silicon Valley is now putting it in the games, but I mean, this is a word we've like सालों करोड़ों साल से we've been using this word.
Hmm. Hmm.
There have been a lot of references जो उठाया जाता है. जैसे अभी Fallout ऐसे games में you would see karma scales. मतलब जितना
Hmm.
पाप करते हो गेम में appearance बदलता रहता है. So there's a lot of things, and this is just one religion I'm speaking, but
Hmm.
ये भी positive sides है. So I don't study Hinduism in specific, but definitely I study multiple religions and their impact in games, और लोगों को कैसा लगता है ये सब. So yeah,
Okay,
that's
hmm.
three.
So the creator of the game can use this particular like knowledge or this particular tool to direct a person in any direction. Maybe it is positive, maybe it is negative. So
Yes.
मेरे को तो मतलब ये मारियो वाला कंसेप्ट तो तुमने जब मुझे लास्ट कॉल पे बताया था तब मुझे पता लगा कि भाई हाँ ये तो सही बात है.
Hmm.
Because it was not something I noticed on my own. So is it used always in a positive way or negative way also?
Yeah, it's actually it's also used in a negative way. It generally मतलब ये क्या करता है ना, it creates stereotypes of people. Like for example, जब कोई भी game Indian culture को depict करता है, they show it
Hmm.
a little one step backward, और
Okay.
मतलब पूरा citizen like civilization एक step backward, and it creates some stereotype. And to be even more specific, I'll be very honest, like a lot of games post 9/11, जो like Call of Duty हो जाए या like a lot of
Hmm.
war games, they're technically situated in one particular region of the world. It creates a stereotype regarding that whole culture, that whole religion, and
Hmm.
इसका भी अपना reason है, because that's
It,
they take current media news and make games.
it
That's how
sells
games work.
better.
Exactly. So
It sells better. Hmm.
exactly, and so we call it othering. हमारे फिल्म उसको othering बोलते हैं, like where
Hmm.
certain cultures are shown in a negative sense.
Hmm.
Um, बट सिमिलरली Assassin's Creed देखेगा तो Assassin's Creed is a very popular game and उसमें तो मुसलमानों को अच्छे से दिखाता है. इट्स वेरी नाइस, वेरी रिस्पेक्टफुल. बैकग्राउंड में अजान चलता है. So there's the good way of showing it also, but then there's also a bad way of showing it. शायद वो डिजाइनर इंटेंशनली नहीं करता कि मैं उसको दिखाना बुरा तरीके से. When we consume it, our mental awareness, हमारा जो दुनिया का knowledge है, we correlate it with it. And then this is how.
Correct. So what is your biggest finding like in the last 2-3 years of you being studying in this particular thing? तो मतलब सबसे like I would say what is the अजीब thing you found?
तो मुझे पहले लगता था कि यार सच में इतना इफेक्ट करता है क्या ये लोग, मतलब लाइक जब मैं खेल रहा हूँ शायद मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा ये सब, राइट. बट देन यू व्हेन वी टेक अ स्टेप बैक, जब बिकॉज इट्स नॉट व्हेन यू डू गेमिंग, राइट, हम अपने रूम में खेलते हैं, बट वी हैव अ लार्ज कम्युनिटी ऑफ गेमर्स. मतलब मेरे दोस्त है जो खेलते हैं, वो सब रेडिट पे आते होंगे या डिस्कॉर्ड पे चैट करते हैं गेम्स के बारे में, लाइक यूट्यूब में लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग करते हैं काफी गेमर्स. तो ऐसा बड़ा सा कम्युनिटी है. इट्स नॉट जस्ट मी प्लेइंग अ गेम. सो एंड सिमिलरली रिलीजन भी ऐसी ही बात है. मतलब there's a community, like religion is, it's so influential because of the community aspect of it. Some of the findings which I found really interesting were, for example, Hinduism may, for example, there are two segments of people. One is like they're really happy to see their culture and religion in the games because uska international value milta hai. But then there's also a side of people which are not happy about seeing their gods in games because जैसे Smite बोल के एक game है, उसमें काली, राम, अग्नि, रावण ऐसे gods है, you can play them as gods. But similarly, दूसरे religion से they have like say Orion or other gods, but they're not equivalent in status because like these are worshipped gods. मतलब ये messengers नहीं, ये तो भगवान है. हम मंदिर active religions के gods. If one of them is coming and like beating up Ram or Shiva, some people will not be happy about it. Like some people will not be happy about it. जैसे एटलीस्ट हिंदुइज्म में अपना धर्म में ऐसा बोलता है कि किस्मत खुदा के हाथ में होता है, मतलब जो ऊपर वाला लिखा है वो ही चलता है. बट इन अ वीडियो गेम व्हाट हैपेंस इज लाइक यू आर कंट्रोलिंग गॉड. सो these are not my arguments, but these are arguments which different people came, and I was surprised like ये से भी होता है. मतलब it's a very different line of thought which you wouldn't think regularly. Like another thing I saw with the Islamic communities were like when you look at the game like GTA 5, right? When you play GTA 5, उसमें nudity होती है, उसमें you have to like go and consume alcohol, पत्ता खेलना पड़ता है गेम में.
Malibu Club.
Exactly. So it's a famous scene in the game, right? It's an iconic scene.
Yeah.
अब जैसे धर्म में ये सब अलाउड नहीं होते हैं, मतलब ये तो फिर ये गेम में करना क्या सही होता है या गलत होता है. Like, मैं डिसीजन नहीं दे सकता. आई एम अ रिसर्चर व्हिच आई कैन bring this perspectives, but people keep discussing it, and then designers have to consider कि मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ कि I can make a game more inclusive. So these are the kind of findings we want to give designers and say like, hey, ऐसा करो कि लोग offend ना हो जाए. India is an important market, Middle East is an important market for games, right? So what do you do to make them more inclusive, but at the same time नहीं बनाना चाहिए. You have to some amount of relatability. तो ऐसे चीजें पे थोड़ा काम करते हैं हम. Yeah.
All right. So all this research of you helps the gamers to design the things in such a way कि वो community उस particular game को accept कर ले, and then you can sell your product over those areas.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So Siddharth, तो मेरा plan क्या था? Like after you graduated from Thapar, you straight away went to US. It was already planned. So how was that story about?
Yeah, so मैं 2020 में graduate हुआ, so not that old, just 3 years from Thapar. So उस टाइम पे मुझे मास्टर्स करना था, I was pretty sure, but then what happened was COVID came. मेरे को मास्टर्स एडमिशंस आए थे, but COVID आया था. बट मुझे कहीं ना कहीं लगा यार मैं अंडरग्रेड करते ही एक बार यूएस आया था इंटर्नशिप करने, फिर आईएससी भी गया था 6 months इंटर्नशिप करने. सो मुझे लगा मैं जॉर्जिया टेक में 4 महीने इंटर्न किया, आईएससी में 6 महीने किया, मतलब लगभग 1 साल तो रिसर्च कर ही रहा हूँ. So फिर से मैं मास्टर्स करके वो रिसर्च एप्टीट्यूड डेवलप करना, मे बी इट्स नॉट राइट. आई कैन मे बी टेक अ ब्रेक, figure out what I really want to do, and then PhD. So luckily, not luckily, but God forbid, COVID फिर से ना आए. But उस time COVID आ गया था, and that stopped me from going to the US. I didn't want to go to the US. So I was in Bangalore. 11 months I worked in Bangalore in a company called Inventor Robotics. But at the same time, उस time पे I was preparing my like what I want to do in my PhD. मैं क्या करना चाहूँ, and 21 में मैंने PhD के लिए अप्लाई किया था, and then I came to UC Santa Cruz.
So how did this idea of gaming and all this part of research came to your mind?
या आई थिंक जब मैं अंडरग्रेड में था, मतलब यू माइट हैव आल्सो सीन, मैं थोड़ा AIML साइड काम करता था। लाइक
अच्छा।
मुझे लगा, आई मीन ऑब्वियसली कॉलेज में वो सब लोग यही बोलते हैं, तो मुझे लगा यार ये तो सही है, मुझे भी करना चाहिए। सो वो पीयर प्रेशर में AIML में घुस गया था।
ओके।
बट व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड अप्लाइंग फॉर PhD पोजीशंस इन AIML, मुझे काफी रिजेक्शंस आया था एक्चुअली। इनफैक्ट ऑलमोस्ट एवरी PhD पोजीशन आई अप्लाइड फॉर AIML, मुझे रिजेक्शन आया था। एंड आई थिंक इट टुक मी सम गुड रिफ्लेक्ट करना पड़ा कि क्यों रिजेक्शन आ रहा है। It was because mostly मुझे लगता था I was a good researcher in AIML, but I wasn't. मुझे बस लोग जो करते थे, I could create new use cases for it. So मैं good software engineer था, मैं good
ओके।
AIML researcher नहीं था।
ओके।
जैसे जैसे कंप्यूटर विजन में हमने एक बनाया था, मैं और मेरे फ्रेंड ने, कि हम फील्ड्स पे रखते हैं और जैसे नील गाय आती है, इट काइंड ऑफ बजेस आउट एंड वो नील गाय भाग जाती है, क्रॉप्स नहीं खाता। तो आई
अच्छा।
यूज टू प्रेजेंट दिस एज अ कंप्यूटर विजन रिसर्च, बट फिर मैंने सीखा यार ये कंप्यूटर विजन की रिसर्च है ही नहीं, ये तो कंप्यूटर विजन इस्तेमाल करके कुछ
एक
करना,
तुम्हें प्रोडक्ट बनाया, हाँ।
प्रोडक्ट बनाना। तो ये प्रोडक्ट साइड है थोड़ा, ये ह्यूमन कंप्यूटर इंटरेक्शन साइड है। सो फिर देन आई रियलाइज ओके, मुझे ह्यूमन कंप्यूटर इंटरेक्शन साइड रहना चाहता हूँ। मुझे क्रिकेट बहुत पसंद था, सो आई स्टार्टेड एनालाइजिंग क्रिकेट वीडियो गेम्स। How can I improve myself while playing cricket in like EA Sports?
अच्छा।
And why is it मैं यॉर्कर नहीं खेल सकता, या ऐसे, मतलब क्या
हम्म।
रीजंस थे। तो वो रीजंस डिसाइफर करते करते आई अंडरस्टूड लाइक अ लॉट ऑफ AI डेटा साइंस कैन बी यूज्ड ऑन गेम्स। तो इस तरीके से आई अप्लाई टू माय एडवाइजर जो यहाँ है, जो गेम डेटा साइंस पे काम करती है, एसेंशियली तो गेम विजुअलाइजेशन जो हम खेलते हैं। अब शायद आप बहुत अच्छे खेलते हो, मैं बहुत बुरा खेलता हूँ कोई गेम, so there is something I can learn if I look at your,
हम्म।
right? So I can't see a video and learn that, right? So कुछ
हम्म।
तो एनालिसिस होगा, कुछ तो विजुअलाइजेशन, जैसे मार्केटिंग एनालिटिक्स होगी, तो
करेक्ट।
एनालाइज दैट गेम प्ले, तो उस फील्ड पे हमारा लैब काम करता है। और उसमें बहुत स्पेसिफिकली, बिकॉज गेम डिजाइन में रिलीजन इज लाइक क्विंटेसेंशियल, लाइक बहुत बहुत यूज करते हैं। जैसे अब खेलते खेलते ही आपको मस्जिद दिख जाता है या चर्च दिख जाता है, कोई नोटिस भी नहीं करता, बट गेम वर्ल्ड्स को बनाने में वो इमर्सिव एक्सपीरियंस, तो दैट्स हाउ आई गॉट इनटू दिस
ओके।
गेम।
सो यू टर्न्ड योर पैशन इनटू पीएचडी।
या आई लाइक स्टोरी टेलिंग, मुझे बहुत कहानियां बहुत पसंद होता
गुड।
है
गुड।
बचपन से, काइंड ऑफ कोरिलेटेड देयर। या
So what is the biggest difference that you like saw in US and in India? Like India में तुमने भी like one of the top colleges में किया UG. Now you are doing PhD over there in one of the top colleges. So what is the biggest difference that you saw are seeing right now?
Yeah, I think I mean we can go on like ranting about what's wrong in
नहीं नहीं
educational system,
ठीक है, we
but
can briefly
yeah,
talk.
I think there is a lot more emphasis on research, मतलब free थोड़ा, because it's the economy also, right? यहाँ even if you're an average student, you know that you can work in a McDonald's and make $5,000 a month. So
हम्म।
the fear of life थोड़ा कम है इधर।
अच्छा।
बट यहाँ you have to work hard, मुझे टॉप यूनिवर्सिटीज में जाना है, दिन भर लीड कोड करना है या whatever, to get a job. So वो फियर ऑफ लाइफ थोड़ा कम होने पर देयर इज अ लॉट मोर फ्रीडम टू एक्सप्लोर।
हम्म।
शायद वो इंडिया में भी बदल रहा है, आई एम नॉट गोना लाई, लाइक आई डिड इट, राइट? लाइक मैं भी इतना बिना डर के जो करना चाहता था किया था। सो वो फियर ऑफ लाइक द अपॉर्चुनिटी टू एक्सप्लोर इज लिटिल मोर, एंड थोड़ा सिस्टम है लाइक आई थिंक इंडिपेंडेंस की, लाइक एवरीबडी इज प्रीटी, लाइक जैसे असाइनमेंट आता था तो काफी लोग हम छापते थे एक दूसरे से, या व्हाटएवर, आई एम नॉट गोना लाई, इट हैपेंस एवरीवेयर इन
Yeah,
इंडिया,
yeah.
right? So that amount of somewhere ethics is
हम्म।
something which I
हम्म।
feel which are important here.
अच्छा, वहाँ पे कॉपी नहीं करते?
No, I don't, they don't, I have not seen
Oh
anyone
bro.
uh,
मेरे जैसा
because
बंदा नहीं जा सकता फिर यूएस।
वो इसलिए ना, क्योंकि क्लास की स्ट्रेंथ की बात हो जाती है, मतलब 20
ओके।
लोग। यहाँ की सिस्टम में समथिंग आई रियली लाइक इज, इंडिया में काफी इनमें से अभी अभी इंप्लीमेंट कर रहे हैं, जैसे TAs होते हैं, टीचिंग असिस्टेंट्स। जैसे हमारा अभी मशीन लर्निंग क्लास में जब राणा सर लेते हैं, 100 220 लोग बैठ जाते हैं क्लास में।
हम्म।
अब हर असाइनमेंट वो टीचर कैसा करेक्ट कर पाएगा?
हम्म।
हाउ कैन ही चेक इफ ईच असाइनमेंट इज नॉवेल और नॉट, right?
करेक्ट।
So yeah, it's more of most of our assignments are like collect data and show me what you've written, or it's like solve a problem. When the assignments are solve a problem, प्रॉब्लम को तो एक दो सॉल्यूशन ही रहेंगे, तो सब लोग छाप सकते हैं, there's no, yeah.
करेक्ट। करेक्ट।
Here assignments are more like synthesize an argument, मतलब हम
हम्म।
आंसर नहीं देखना चाहते हैं, वो ये लोग मान लेते हैं कि तुम कर ही लोगे, आंसर डेवलप कर ही लोगे, मतलब अभी नहीं तो कल तो कर लोगे। बट वो सिंथेसाइज लाइक से अभी AIML में हो जाए, हमारे क्लास में माय ब्रदर इज इन थापर राइट नाउ, राइट? आई सी हिज असाइनमेंट समटाइम्स, उसमें ये हो जाता है कि लाइक राइट एन एल्गोरिदम, राइट, और कोड एन एल्गोरिदम। if हमारा benchmark वही है तो the goal is to just learn that algorithm. But I see the same AI ML class here. The question is, try to synthesize an application using this AI ML algorithm for the society. Right? तब
Okay.
10 तरीका आंसर्स आएंगे, 15 तरीका.
Some
Then it's easier to find who's copying from whom also.
like
Right?
from what I understand कि वहाँ पे तुम्हें learn करने के लिए नहीं बोला जा रहा. You are asked to implement what you have learned.
Yeah, sometimes it's not even possible to implement, बस वो thought को to
Thought को
think,
आए.
to creatively think and to push that thinking. अच्छा idea है तो you will not sleep till that idea is, you make that idea. मतलब कुछ सच में अच्छा निकला तेरे दिमाग से, you will not stop. तू खुद सीखोगे वो algorithm कैसे implement करूँगा.
Correct, correct,
So
correct.
that push towards product thinking is something. Yeah, I think that's why we make great engineers. Indians are great engineers because of the same reason. We are very good in building stuff, but वो सोच की बात हो जाती है थोड़ा. Yeah,
R&D
but
part is weak here.
yeah, I love Indian education system, no complaints. But I think there is something we can learn here and
Yeah,
there. Yeah.
yeah. Like I'm a pure devote of like the Indian thought, and I have the motto key to make Bharat great again, and that's why I'm creating this podcast. But yes, we need to understand that हमारा एक tradition जो था, वो एक बहुत अच्छा tradition था. We were the world leaders and everything. But right now, US is ahead of us. So why not leave that ego and learn from US and do it here? That's it.
Yeah.
As simple as that. There is no ego in this, right?
I think
So
you can start fundamentally from introducing TAs in class. टीचिंग असिस्टेंट्स क्लास में इंट्रोड्यूस करो जो अपने सीनियर्स हो जाएंगे, जैसे थर्ड ईयर में फोर्थ ईयर वालों को
correct.
proportion कम करो. And I'm sure we can make it work. I really feel introducing TAs will change a lot of things in Thapar or any education system. Yeah.
Just come back to India after learning from there and implement it here.
I'm not gonna lie, that's definitely one thought, but let's see. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what is the cultural difference that you are seeing in India and there?
Yeah, इसका बहुत सारे आंसर्स होंगे because I am brown myself. I'm an international student, so मेरा interpretation होगा यहाँ लोग. I won't say this is like ऐसे ही होता है, but मेरा interpretation ये है कि मुझे लगता है मुझे दोस्त बनाना बहुत आसान था इंडिया में, because it's just way easier. We relate to so much. Like for example, I say डोसा खाया, and then you'll have a memory of dosa. Like यार पटियाला में वो काली माता मंदिर के मद्रास डोसा. You'll have a memory you can relate with. I can relate with. But maybe not in America. I can't explain all my life to a white American saying like dosa is rice and dal mixed together like a pancake. वो relate नहीं कर पाएंगे. So वो थोड़ा gap रहता है. मैं हमेशा बोलता हूँ वहाँ इंडिया में ना मेरा भाई बन जाता है, मतलब लोग दोस्त बन जाते हैं और जिगर दोस्त बन जाते हैं. यहाँ काफी acquaintances बनते हैं. Yeah, I am trying. It also falls on me. I have to make friends, and yeah, so it's a little different for sure. But I think you have to. It's the process of becoming internationalized and adapting to cultures and making friends. I think it's also age. As you grow older, it's very hard to make friends. But but I think there's a lot of work ethic. मतलब a lot of what do you say, dignity to work. Like जो बस चलाता है या like India, if I tell my mom like, okay, I aim to become a bus driver, I think she will not be really happy about it. But yeah, it's actually treated as a respectable profession. The dignity of labor जो होती है, so that's nice. And also,
I think that happens with education level going to the deeper corners of the country. And here also it will start like once people get educated that ये सीवर जो उठाता है वो भी एक respected बंदा है और जो CEO है वो भी एक respected बंदा है. It happens with education only. So
ethics also, like I think academic ethics, they're very strong. I'm not gonna lie, like there are this is I don't mind saying it, like there are professors across India who are very not supportive for undergrads, like credit stealing or like stealing credit, stealing authorship. These are things which happen very outrightly in India. Yeah, it's like a mafia. like एक दूसरों को साइट करते रहते हैं and ऐसे ही जानबूझ के किसी और प्रोफेसर का नाम डाल देते हैं पेपर्स पे. So it happens. That shows poor ethos because it's again survival of the fittest. Like वो लोगों को करना पड़ता है. I'm sure they're not happy about it also. Here I think the difference is a very strong cultural work ethic, at least in academia. मुझे इंडस्ट्री में नहीं पता, but academics में मुझे देखा. I never faced a problem. इंडिया में I remember a few times I was like, why, what is this, क्या हो रहा है इधर. But yeah, ऐसा.
जब आप खुद मेहनत करो और उस मेहनत के ऊपर किसी और का नाम by default आ जाए, it doesn't look good.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll get there. I guess we'll get there better. Yeah.
हाँ देखो यार, हिटलर वही कहता था ना कि लाइक अगर तुम्हें कोई चीज़ चेंज करनी है तो रीच टू द टॉप ऑफ दैट थिंग and then change the thing. So you are doing that, and like maybe क्या पता था पर में तुम वापस आ जाओ as a professor, and then you teach everyone.
Yeah, I don't want to I don't want to go on Hitler, but yeah, hopefully one of the goals is to like come back and maybe, or at least even if not come back, give some positive contribution, give back.
Correct, correct. So, what is the best place that you have traveled in US?
Oh, I've been to New York, I think. Oh, cool. I
Okay.
was like, oh my God, did I not travel anywhere? But हाँ, मैं न्यूयॉर्क गया था, अपनी खुद के पैसे से गया था, तो बड़ा खुशी की बात हुई थी।
Mm-hmm.
तो मुझे, I think that's, मैं ज़्यादा घूमा नहीं, to be honest, but
Okay.
न्यूयॉर्क गया था and I kind of enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
जहाँ मैं रहता हूँ, it's also pretty like San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
रहता हूँ. Yeah, both are very nice places, and but yeah, I want to like maybe once I'm done with grad, देख हम बहुत minimum stipend के साथ रहते हैं, हमारा खाना पीना रेंट हो जाता है, बस अपना जेब से कुछ निकलता नहीं, उतना ही पैसा मिलता है, तो बच बच के मे बी साल में एक बार जा सकते हैं। चलिए,
Mm-hmm.
और
Cool.
एक बार
So,
इंडिया आया तो खत्म हो जाता है। So,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, like, what is the like balance? How do you maintain your the balance between your academic life? अभी तुम्हारे वहाँ पे रात हो रही है, and then your
yeah,
personal life. How do you maintain the balance during PhD?
yeah, I think definitely a lot of people will say like work life culture is important and all.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel it's important, like you have to balance out this,
Mm-hmm.
but I think I am at a stage of my life where I need to push a little harder, because
Correct, correct.
I'm a smartest person तो हूँ नहीं रूम में, but best तो बन सकता हूँ मेहनत किया तो।
सही, सही.
स्मार्ट तो नहीं हूँ, बट बेस्ट तो बन सकता है मेहनत किया तो, मुझे मेहनत करना पड़ेगा, आई नो दैट फॉर फैक्ट, एंड हमेशा मेरे लाइफ में ऐसे ही था, आई हैव टू वर्क 2 days harder than the rest of the
Mm-hmm.
people achieve something. But yeah, I think one way to disconnect is to make hobbies. uh, I am trying these days to make hobbies, like जैसे I recently started pottery, like मैं pots बना रहा हूँ।
अच्छा.
I am starting to play the ukulele a little.
अरे वाह.
So yeah, it's just to make some hobbies, and some
Mm-hmm.
go to gym, just to disconnect with everything. So वो talk to family. I think I talk to my family every day. So मुझे उससे भी थोड़ा मुझे शांति मिलता है. So yeah, these kind of things help. But yeah, I wouldn't, I'll be honest, I don't think it's like Saturday Sunday काम नहीं करूंगा तो भाई चलता नहीं ऐसा. हमारा procrastination combined with poor efficiency, I do need to work on the weekends too. So
नहीं दैट्स गुड यार. अभी अभी एज भी क्या ही है, अभी तो काम कर ही सकते हो, क्या ही वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस चाहिए. सो आई ऑल्सो वर्क, आई ऑल्सो टेक ऑफ. ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं ऑफ ले
yeah,
लेता हूँ, आई ऑल्सो टेक ऑफ, एंड जब मन करता है ऑफ ले लेते हैं, जब मन करता है कि 12 घंटा काम करना है 12 घंटा काम भी कर लेते हैं.
yeah,
Yeah, so one more thing I wanted to ask, like recently on Twitter, I see a lot of people drug abuse and all in New York streets. People are like ऐसे ऐसे चल रहे हैं, मतलब they are kind of
yeah,
अजीब type of pictures coming on Twitter and all.
right.
And वो मेरे ख्याल से तुम्हारा ये कैलिफोर्निया एरिया वगैरह कुछ ऐसा ही है. तो what is the thing going on there? Like I wanted to know from a real person, because social media पे काफी टाइम ना narratives भी forward आ
Yeah,
जाते हैं.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
you may, if you have some knowledge about this.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not an expert about it, but जब मैं सड़क पे घूमता, how I feel about it, there are some areas where I do feel unsafe. Like जैसे अभी
Hmm.
SF कई जगह है. It's not because I'm an Indian. Like my white friends
Hmm.
equally are scared to go there.
Oh.
So yeah, there are some. I think it's fentanyl. I do not know the pronunciation of the drug, but there is a widespread use of it, and उससे कुछ दिक्कत होता है लोगों को. Yeah, I don't. I cannot speak more. Like मुझे नहीं पता administration के, but yeah, ऐसे areas है जनरली वी आर टोल्ड टू अवॉइड, तो हम
हम्म.
अवॉइड कर ही लेते हैं. मतलब जान इंपॉर्टेंट है, पढ़ाई वढ़ाई तो छोड़ो, जिंदा रहना है. फिर तो ऐसा एरियाज अवॉइड करते हैं. But yeah, hopefully it might get better. And yeah, San Francisco में this was a huge discussion on Twitter, how the city is like going down because of this. um, I am not much aware, but yeah, जब मैं गया था सैन फ्रांसिस्को में, I could see it. Like I could see people.
या.
They call the fentanyl bend or something, ऐसे झुक के रहते हैं. That's the effect of the drug. So I did see a couple of people, and it does get. I am scared of it, but क्या कर सकते हैं, दूर रहना चाहिए. Yeah.
Yeah, understood. And one more thing, like I see on Twitter itself, वहीं से मुझे ये भी पता लगा, like people are like having sex over the streets. So like, is this a common thing over there, or how is it?
I have not seen something like that. I think
I
जहाँ मैं
I have
रहता
seen
हूँ.
people like in New York City, like people are having this over the roads itself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, मैं सच में कुछ ऐसा कुछ देखा नहीं. I live in a very good nice area.
अच्छा.
SF में नहीं रहता हूँ. I It's like 40 minutes away from me. I live in an area called Sunnyvale, जिसमें काफी I don't want to say because tech people है, it's nice, but you will find a lot of cross cultural people here, like Indians
Okay.
रहते हैं, Asians रहते हैं, Latinos रहते हैं. It's technically way more safer and like actually way more safer. And जहाँ मैं रहता हूँ काफी big companies like Apple is here,
Okay.
Google is here. It's like just like a 10 minutes bus ride away. I do not see these things happening over here. But I wouldn't like, yeah, if you've seen it on Twitter, maybe things like that are happening.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if something like that has happened somewhere.
ओके.
Yeah.
एंड वन मोर थिंग आई हैव इन माय माइंड, जो मुझे किसी इंडियन से पूछना था जो कि यूएस गया है. क्या जैसे हम मूवीज में देखते हैं कि सिर्फ यूएस में जैसे बड़ी बड़ी बिल्डिंग ही होती है, बड़े बड़े ऑफिसेज होते हैं, सिर्फ वही है, वहाँ पे स्लम्स वगैरह नहीं होते, वहाँ पे पुअर विलेजेस नहीं होते हैं क्या?
I think when it comes to movies, they choose very specific cities. New York choose कर लेते हैं conveniently, या San Francisco choose कर लेते हैं, या Austin choose कर लेते हैं, which are like you know, to some extent they are where the world headquarters are there. They look rich. But I have some friends who are studying rural America, and how can they improve rural. You know, maybe the average slum might look a little better, or like in terms of hygiene standards, but there are slums, there are like regions which need more infrastructure. So the media perception of America is not what entire America is. मुझे लगता है there are some areas which are still, you know, not as good as San Francisco, but they're still coming up. Yeah, yeah.
So one, like the second last question that I'm going to ask you about this, like what is the thing that you love the most in US?
I think I love my work. Like मुझे बहुत, I'm very like blessed. I feel like मेरे को I have a very good advisor who lets me do what I want. Really, like I know not many people would, not many advisors would be like okay with studying such sensitive topics. Like my advisor really is very nice about it. And अभी मुझे like I don't have many things I'm worrying about in my life. I wake up, I talk to my family, I go out, do my stuff, and you know. Um, do my research. I think that ability, that freedom to do my research, I could have done it in India if there were these kind of opportunities. I would have loved to do it in India, no questions asked. But yeah, I think that just that flexibility to do stuff right now, I'm very happy about it and thankful for it. Yeah.
Great. So what is the plan? Like after PhD, you are planning to come back or you are going to stay there? Like अभी कुछ final किया है नहीं किया?
Uh, I'm very flexible. Like I don't
अच्छा.
mind. Like some people are very rigid. Like वो नहीं जाना चाहता है वापस. मुझे if I get a very good position, like I won't even say very good. If I get a position to create some kind of change in the country, like जैसे मुझे, I'll be honest, like थापर में मुझे tenure के साथ professorship मिल गया. I wouldn't back, to be honest. I wouldn't mind coming back. 40 लाख मिल जाएगा. I'll be happy in my life, and I'm sure I can change a lot of things
Yeah,
out,
change.
right? But
That's great thought.
yeah, so I don't mind coming back. अगर मुझे खुद अपना खुद का startup करना है, I would definitely come back to India because that's it. But I love teaching. मुझे मुझे teach करना पसंद है, मुझे research करना पसंद है. So maybe मैं यहाँ भी academia में रह सकता हूँ. But at the same time, मैं last year I worked in Facebook. 22 summer
अच्छा.
20 worked in Facebook as a UX researcher, and I enjoyed that also. Like it's again creating change at a very quick space. बहुत
Okay.
जल्दी I'm able to create changes. So I don't mind that. So I'm really flexible at
Okay.
this point. Yeah. So,
Let's talk more about Facebook. यार ये Facebook वाला part तुमने नहीं बताया मुझे. So what
I
it is like to
know
work
it,
in Facebook?
but yeah, in Facebook में I worked as a UX research intern summer 2022 summer में. तो around 12 weeks काम किया. 12 weeks मतलब 3 महीने. So UX research generally is to understand, like advocate for customers, like customers क्या चाहते हैं and how can this app kind of address that. फेसबुक में बहुत सारा रेंज ऑफ प्रोडक्ट्स है, लाइक व्हाट्सएप हो जाए, इंस्टाग्राम हो जाए, लाइक व्हाटएवर, ऑक्यूलस एंड ऑल दैट. उसमें आई वर्कड ऑन फेसबुक. आई वर्कड ऑन द फेसबुक होम. लाइक व्हेन यू ओपन फेसबुक यू सी स्टोरीज, रील्स ऑन द टॉप.
Yeah, yeah.
इस पार्ट पे मैंने काम कर रहा था, लाइक
अच्छा.
व्हाट, लाइक उसका फ्यूचर में क्या यूज कर सकते हैं. जैसे लोग बोलते हैं अब कौन यूज करता है फेसबुक. So to address those questions, like how can we get back people, Gen Z people back onto Facebook, and so yeah, how do we create futuristic experience, modernize, minimalize. तो उस पे मैं research कर रहा था. My like role ऐसा था कि I have to talk to people, understand what their needs are, and basically PhD में जो भी करते हो, synthesize करना चाहते हो, what are design requirements, what the market expects, or what your customer segment expects from the app. So that's it.
Can you tell me what are the outcomes you had by the end of this 3 month internship at Facebook, like
Yeah.
after doing your research and all?
I think specifically you want to understand the pulse of the young audience, like
Hmm.
young adults, they were 20, 18 to 21. So what are
Yeah.
they looking for? They're possibly looking for improving their connections. Unka life mein,
Yeah.
like example, Facebook, Instagram जो होता है, generally people do not share every moment of their life. मतलब
Hmm.
Instagram जब मान लो मेरा somebody close to me has expired, right? I don't go to Instagram. Like it's not something I
Yeah.
would go. But maybe Facebook is still a place I
फेसबुक
would
पे
go to.
जाएगा. या.
या मार्केट प्लेस हो जाए या इवेंट्स हो जाए. सो फेसबुक इज नॉट जस्ट जो खुशियों में आता है, इट्स गोना बी थ्रू योर लाइफ, थ्रू डिफरेंट इमोशंस. लाइक जैसे मैं यूएस मूव किया था, आई डोंट गो सर्च फर्नीचर इन फेसबुक मार्केट ऑन इंस्टाग्राम, बट आई वुड रादर सर्च इट इन फेसबुक मार्केट प्लेस. तो ऐसे चीजें हैं जो वी वांटेड टू अंडरस्टैंड, यही लाइक व्हाट डू यंग एडल्ट्स वांट एंड हाउ कैन वी ब्रिंग दैट
ओके.
एट द टॉप. So this was, maybe I can't like tell very specifically ये था, but the larger theme of it was what do people want, and how do we, like जैसे birthday से for
हम्म.
example
वो
notification.
फेसबुक पे ही आएगा.
But
करेक्ट.
मैं तो अप्लाई नहीं करता काफी लोगों को. But is there a way I can like improve that experience, just like direct action हो जाए, क्यों notifications खोल के ये खोलना. So things like this to just increase engagement, increase connections, uh, find family or find interest. So yeah, these things.
Yeah, my mom like 2 years back she joined Facebook and like उनके 40 साल पुराने जितने दोस्त हैं सारे मिल गए
Yeah,
from Assam and all.
yeah,
So
friends and family, right?
great, great. So Sai, this is the end of the podcast. So like, tell me if you have to add something else to this
Oh
whole
no, it's
content.
really nice meeting you. It's so good to see you're running your own venture now. Yeah, मैं college से देखता था, you used to be very active in marketing and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
you're
bus
following your
trying.
passion too, I guess.
Yeah,
Very
trying my luck.
yeah.
Yeah, cool. Then thank you very much for joining me in this podcast, and I hope this helps to someone who is going to like do PhD or some kind of this thing in US. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for joining.
Bye bye.
Okay, chalo. I'll stop the recording.